Hi, I'm Bob Batcher, Executive Director of Prime Plus Senior Centers, and this is Prime Time with Bob. I'm with a really special guy who I've known for a long, long time. But boy, over the last 9 months, we've been talking about every day about this daggone COVID-19 and what it means. George Pratt, how you doing?
I'm doing great, doing fabulous.
Okay, you are the most credentialed guy I know, and as they would say on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, probably the smartest guy I know. But I want to ask you some personal questions. How are you coping with COVID-19 and the idea of staying home with your wife and son?
Actually, that's a fairly easy question for somebody who has been in the mental health field for as long as I have. And I go back a long, long way. And how I'm coping is I try to apply everything that I know about positive mental health. When I went back to get my doctorate, a lot of people wanted to go in to do psychotherapy and that sort of thing. I was really interested in how people apply what we know to be mentally healthy. And so that's what I try to do every single day, is apply as many positive mental health activities as I can to my own life, and then try to teach it to other people and tell other people about it as well.
You did a really nice job of not answering my question, but let me get back to that. Okay, ODU, Community Services Board, PhD from top schools, and also some Alabama schools. You got a great track record, and 9 months ago, you and I talked. Oh, you're a board member of Prime Plus. I gotta say that. So 9 months ago, we did one of my first Zoom meetings, and we broadcast it. And it was kind of simple. In a couple of weeks, we'll get through this just like we do a hurricane. The storm will blow through, and blue skies and low humidity after. And it was just a matter of hanging in there. 9 months later, how's George Pratt doing at home with his wife and his son?
I think the question that you're asking is, what am I doing? Not how am I doing.
Is it working?
Yeah, and it is. And one of the things that we know, some really wonderful strategies. One thing that we really know is that thinking positive, saying positive things helps us be more positive. And I know that sounds so simple, but and one of my sayings is, if it's easy to do, if it's hard to understand, it's easy to do. If it's easy to understand, it's hard to do. But just saying positive things every day to yourself. Find something that you have been successful at the last day. Find something that you are really thankful for, and say that every single day. I'm thankful for being able to come out and talk to you. Being around other people. There are just loads of strategies that we can apply to our own life that help us. Find funny things on television. Don't watch movies or TV shows that are struggles or bad, but watch some things that are humorous. Research has actually shown that if people, they think that something is funny or not, if they will just make themselves laugh, like 10 times a day, just go, ha, 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 that positive activities start occurring inside of your body. Now, I can give you more, but I'm sure you've got more questions.
My oldest daughter came to visit at Thanksgiving time, and we did the quarantine thing. And really, the beginning couple of first days were really focused on making sure we were safe and distant.
Sure.
Luckily, I had bought that big dining room table because we could eat at the same place, but 6 feet apart. One of the things she introduced to us was that Maria Kondo, the Japanese gal that does the sorting. And her whole thing is that spark of joy. If something gives you a spark of joy, then look for it. And that's when I started looking at, it doesn't have to be big joy. It doesn't have to be big happy. Just a little spark of joy, and if you focus on it. They ended up giving me a watch for Christmas engraved with "Time for Joy." So yeah, however, what's healthy? Because one of the things I'm discovering is and the last time we talked, you turned it into a session for me. So I'm going to do it myself. I've gained 15 pounds because this is my spark of joy. In that come 9 o'clock, I'm sitting in front of CNN and we have the ice cream cones or the bucket of praline pecans. So are there things that we can avoid? I mean, how do I avoid that kind of stuff and replace it with joy?
Well, the simple answer is just don't do it.
So do what you normally do, but do it different.
Habits, one does not change a habit by trying harder to change it. You have to learn to do something different. Either change what's leading up to it, called the cue or the stimulus, or the consequence. You can change either there's a stimulus and a response and a consequence. You can change the stimulus, you can change the consequence. It is extremely hard just to change that response by saying, I won't do it anymore. You talked about you've gained a couple of pounds during this thing. I've lost 4. I've lost 4. What I eat, and I get snacks, I get the need for snacks, but I like nuts and I like fruit. And so when I get that need to do something like that, then I don't go to the high caloric things. I made some brownies the other night, froze almost all of them, but I put a few in the refrigerator, and every now and then we'll want one, and so we'll go get it. Some people say if they make it, they eat the whole thing.
Yeah, this cake will be gone by the end of the day.
It's really important to know what you're doing. And one of the simplest ways of becoming aware, and research has shown this, that if you will journal or record or just write down what it is that you're doing, like your cake and that sort of thing, write it down. Just writing it down will increase your goal of consuming that stuff by 30%. Just writing it down, because it gets into our thinking process, and our brain is designed not to think about things that may not be good for us. We don't think about, when you go out on the road, you don't think about the number of people who are going to be in auto accidents.
Right.
But it's true that a lot of people are. And so our brain is just designed not to deal with things that we don't like. So it is designed to think of things that we do like.
Now,
go ahead.
Let me put it in that works in a normal world. But 9 months ago when we talked, we were preparing to hunker down. We were being told that the safest place for us to be is at home. Don't go out in the public. Don't get in your car and go someplace. Get in your car and just sit there. So that if you don't wear a mask, I mean, we're having this Zoom meeting when we could have done it in person. But if we'd done it in person, it would have been like this.
Yes.
It wouldn't have been the same. So we're doing it safely distanced. That's not normal. When do you see normal behavior in response to COVID and doing the safe thing starting to make a turn, though, to a lay term, a phobia, that it's not becoming good for you? And then, let's deal with that question first. When do you start recognizing that it's not just the cake, it's a avoidance of going outside? Or
right. Bob, let me go back to something you said about wearing the mask is not normal. It is normal. That is our new normal. Mm-hmm. And instead of continuing to think in the past what it was like to live a certain lifestyle, what we are living now is the new normal. And that's okay. That's okay. My lifestyle now is very different from my lifestyle when I was 20. That I could go back and say my lifestyle at 20 was normal, and now I'm an old man. This is my new normal. So we need to quit thinking about the good old days and realize that today is the good old day. It is a wonderful day. Of course, it's overcast, it's rainy, it's cold outside, but that is a wonderful day for us. And as long as we keep repeating the good old days, how it used to be, that's a negative for us. But if we start thinking of, I'm alive today, I slept in my own bed last night, all that sort of thing. So we need to quit thinking about what's the normal. I used to tell my class all the time, who wants to be normal?
Right.
But okay, to get at specifically what you ask about, now that we are isolated from each other, what do we do with this? How do we move around that? One of the things that happens, particularly for people who are introverted, who like to be, I used to say that give me an opportunity to stay in the basement cubicle at the University of Virginia library and read all of these books and things like that. I could spend a whole day doing that. That's not good. We are familial creatures. We have evolved, we have developed to be around other people. And it's really important for us to not fall into what is necessary, what is my natural kind of thing to do, but what is the best for me to do. And so one of the things that we simply need to do is get up, move around, go outside. As you know, I'm a gardener. I don't do yard work, I do gardening work. I go out even when it's cold like this and repot plants and things like that. What it does is it puts me out into nature. It moves my body around. My muscles are working. It's activating defense, protection, and things like that.
Right.
The more we move, the better we are.
So call your friend on the landline and walk around the house while talking to her. If you don't
Absolutely.
want to leave the house.
Instead of, yes. But there's nothing wrong with putting on your mask, talk to your neighbor, make sure they're okay. One of the things that we find is that when we help other people, it activates certain chemicals in our brain that makes us feel better. That's cool. Some really interesting things, research. There's a whole area on forgiveness and the neurochemistry of forgiveness, what it does inside of the person. And so activating those kinds of activities makes us feel better, not just the other person.
You know what, George? I'm going to keep this conversation going at another time because I'm getting a notice saying that our internet is unstable. That's kind of a sign of a new day, but it is a new day.
Maybe that's a good thing.
And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick up the phone and call you and let's prune some bushes.
Okay, I'm available.
That's really what it's about. We'll wear our mask. We'll do it safely, but
Absolutely.
We'll do something that we normally have done. Just do it differently.
You
Thanks
bet.
a lot, George. We're going to keep the conversation going.
Keep a positive approach.
You got it. Thanks a lot. And keep in mind, stay safe and stay connected. Catch us next time. Thanks a lot.